Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be talking about Adam Peters and the Washington Commanders restructuring Deebo Samuel's deal, what it means for the cap space this season, next year, and much more. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. So in this video I'll be talking about the Deebo stuff, and like I said, please subscribe. Trying to hit 16k. It's free, it takes 1 second, but we'll discuss the Deebo trade, the cap space ramifications and stuff like that, and then in a future video I'll do a full cap space breakdown. So this is from Adam Schefter, tweeted out about an hour ago. Let's see, it's 4:22 right now. Yeah, almost exactly an hour ago. So he said, a rework deal for Deebo in DC. The Commanders are guaranteeing $17 million of Deebo Samuel's previously non-guaranteed salary for this season, along with adding another $3 million worth of incentives per sources. Samuel now play the season on a 1-year deal worth up to $20 million, including $17 million guaranteed. And yeah, so it was done by his agent Tory Dandy and Commanders GM Adam Peters. So what this basically means is, because if they wanted to restructure, maybe move some of the money in the future, it would have likely mean a lower cap hit this year, but then like $12 million of a void year deal next year. So it's like a guaranteed $12 million on the books for Deebo Samuel, even if he doesn't play. So this guarantees that it doesn't happen. If he doesn't have a good year, or even if he does have a good year and he, wants more money elsewhere, the Commanders will not be paying Deebo Samuel. That's the good news about this. Bad news, I would say, they fully guaranteed the deal. That's not a huge deal, but you're helping out the player there, which for the player is good. Helps him out, guaranteeing money, and then makes the relationship a little bit better, and adds $3 million worth of incentives, which I don't mind. You give Deebo, already should be motivated. He got traded. He did not have a good year last year. Was a little bit out of shape, and just in general wasn't didn't have a great year. Not up to his standards, definitely not. But so adding the $3 million worth of incentives could give him more reason to absolutely ball out. So maybe that's the thought process there on with Adam Peters. For me, so the research I did, there's some conflicting information, because if you look here at Spot Track, they have on 2025, not Spot Track, over the cap. Let's go to Spot Track first. So Spot Track has, in 2026, they have a $12 million cap hit. When the trade happened, this is how they had the contract in. Over the cap, on the other hand, for 2025, they always had the cap hit at 17.4, I believe. I'm pretty sure they did. And in 2026, they... I guess there was a void year, but no money. So I'm not completely sure there, but I believe that this guarantees that the Commanders don't have to pay him any money next year. I will double check in terms of if the original trade had any money in a void year in 2026, because it might have. And if that's the case, then this move ensures that will not happen, that they're not going to have to pay him in 2026 unless they want to rework the deal. I guess not rework the deal, just make a whole new deal, because he is a free agent after this year. So that's basically what they did right there. Josh Taylor here with a tweet saying he had a 1-year, $17.55 million contract when he traded for him. Fans saw the $5 million cap hit and thought that was his contract. Washington went ahead into the full contract for 2025 instead of a $12.3 million cap hit in 2026 with him not under contract. So maybe, I guess, when the trade did happen, it originally was a $5.2 million cap hit, and this kind of reworks things. But from what I'm seeing, the Commanders, if you look at over the cap, they had $22 million $23 million in cap space, the last couple days, and this, move doesn't change anything. And if it was going to, if it was different, if it did start in 2026 with $12.5 million in cap space when the trade was, or cap hit when the trade was made, then it would have lowered our cap space. So I don't believe that's the case. I know I'm probably just saying a bunch of random stuff. Just cap space sometimes is complicated, but yeah, the Commanders, I think overall this is a good move. I think some people, when they saw the tweet, even myself included at first, I saw a rework deal and I was like, oh, maybe, they're lowering the cap hit for this year. And, you get a little bit excited about that, but then you realize, all right, maybe that's not the smartest thing with Deebo Samuel, who he is on a 1-year deal, but had the worst year of his career last year, is getting a little, he's not old, but he's 29, so he's not super young. And, he has injury issues. So do you want to move that, contract down a couple years, or move the money down a couple years, or do you want to extend him? That is something that I wasn't a huge fan of. So, extending him when he hasn't shown anything, I don't know if that's the best deal. But Deebo gets his money. He should be happy, and he better be motivated and have a good season for the Commanders. We need him to absolutely ball out. I'll go ahead and Deebo Samuel, not contract, stats, and just look at his numbers real quick. It's been a while since we talked about Deebo. So last year had 670 yards, and yeah, that's not good enough. If we're paying him $20 million this season, I guess with incentives, so that's if he does get $20 million, that probably means he had a very good year. But you don't want to be having a guy that gets you 670 yards for that money. I would say at the minimum, you want 2023 Deebo, 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, and then also 225 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. It would be great if we can get, at the minimum 2023 Deebo, mix of, 2023 and 2021, like a middle of that would be good as well. Someone that gets you like close to 1,000 yards, even like 900, 950 is good with 6, 7, 8 touchdowns. I think this offense is suited really well for him. And then, he also will be a factor in the run game. I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be this year with, in a different offense, because, with Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, he was used a lot as a running back. Even from the beginning of his career in 2019, he had 14 carries for 160 yards, which that's insane, 11.4 yards a carry. And it wasn't like he had a 90-yard carry that moved that yards per carry up. His longest was a 31. But ever since 2021, he's been getting like 40-ish carries, at least 40 carries a season, besides like 2023, which is basically 40. So he does get those carries, around 2.5 per game. So we'll see if that happens with, him in DC. We'll get a good sense of that, I feel like, pretty early on in, maybe in the offseason a little bit, in the preseason. They're not going to want to show their cards all the way, but, we'll get a good idea. And that's all I'm going to say about Deebo and the rushing scenario. Curtis Samuel was used that way in Washington, obviously a different offense now. And last year they kind of mix it up. Diami had some carries, Terry did, Luke might have had some like end around 1 or 2. So, a lot of them did. So I think even maybe Noah Brown, I might have been thinking, I know a few years ago, Cam Sims had a couple, but Noah Brown might have had 1 or 2 last year. But yeah, that'll take some carries away from those receivers and let them really work on what they need to do and what their strengths are. So and just a little last second overview on everything I said, because I know I threw a bunch of things out there, but basically this contract rework is to make all of it guaranteed in 2025, none of it in 2026. So if they want to move on from him and they don't want to extend him or, get a new deal, then they won't have any money on the books for 2026, and that makes things good. And I know when I was like yapping a little bit in the middle, where I was debating in my mind, was that how it worked when the Commanders got the deal? Was it 12.5 million already at the cap hit, or did this deal change things? And this deal did change some things, I believe, besides just the incentives, and it made the money not go to 2026, which is smart, I think. And, the incentives could work out in the Commanders' favor if Deebo is, very motivated by those. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys new, and peace.